CTV's Colin D'Mello joins me now with more details on this. So, Colin, good to see you. It's a very much awaited plan. I think teachers and education providers are saying we should have seen this a long time ago. But walk us through the highlights here of this 29-page document. Masks, we know, will be required.
Yeah, masks will be a requirement when students return to the classroom, and that is from grade 1 all the way to grade 12. Those who are in kindergarten, masks will be encouraged for them to wear, but it is not going to be part of the mandatory requirement for all of them. Here are the big takeaways. Elementary school, high schools, they will be returning full time, so 5 days per week for the full instructional day. The Ford government is saying as of right now, in high schools, they will have 2 courses per day. So kind of that quadmester model that a lot of schools have been using throughout COVID-19. Remote learning will be an option, but it is only an option here in Ontario for parents who choose to exercise the option. So any family who doesn't feel comfortable sending their kids to class in the fall, they can keep their kids at home for remote learning, but a lot of school boards are warning them it'll be for the entire semester or potentially the year. You might not be able to go back and forth. But the province does say this: each school board will have to be prepared for closures due to COVID-19. School boards will have to have plans in place so that they can move quickly to remote learning if things were to go sideways. Here are some of the big takeaways, though, for students who have been missing some of their activities that they've been having. Music classes, physical education, all kinds of other activities that students had missed during the last couple of years. They are now returning to the classroom. The extracurricular activities as well will be back. So the government says clubs, activities, sports teams, bands, extracurriculars will all be back. There will be some masking requirements, and there will also be no masking requirements in certain situations. So for example, if it's a high contact sport, it'll have to be done outside. Masks are not mandatory. If it is a low contact sport, it can be done inside. Masks, again, are not mandatory. Schools can once again play one another. So, a lot of those large gatherings will be allowed again at one of these school type events. If there is a large sporting event, assemblies can return. So it seems like school will be back to normal in Ontario with some key differences. Masking will be required. Cohorts will be required, and physical distancing as well. Beyond that, there are very few limits in the classroom in Ontario.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm sort of going through this really quickly here, and I know you've perused through it in more detail than I've been able to right now. But one of the things that we know principals have been asking for were those smaller class sizes as well in order to maintain that distance there. We'll see what the Premier says on those things. I'm sure it's going to be brought up with regards to that. Talk to me about vaccinations, because not all the students are going to be vaccinated.
No, and in fact, the vaccination document, I have it here. I wanted to show you what the vaccination document looks like. Under the headline vaccination, this is all you see. It's pretty much a blank page. And the only thing it actually says is vaccinations are an important tool to helping keeping our schools open. They are encouraging school boards to vaccinate students on site, as an example, work with the local public health units, and to promote the vaccine as much as possible. But there are some key things that this document simply does not answer that a lot of parents are wondering. Will the vaccination be a key to accessing some of those extracurricular activities, or will unvaccinated students be prevented from accessing any types of activities? That is not spelled out in this document. The Chief Medical Officer of Health in Ontario has also said if you're exposed to somebody with COVID-19, the vaccine will make the key difference. If you are unvaccinated, you might be asked to isolate for a minimum of 10 days. If you are vaccinated and you test negative, you can return to school almost immediately. That is not spelled out in this document. Also, what's not included in this document, what happens if there is a positive case within a cohort? Does the whole cohort go home or not? We don't know what the government plans to do there. Also, what would it take for an entire school to close down? Is it 1 case, 2 cases, 3 cases? Is it multiple cohorts would have to go home and that would mean the entire school shuts down? That isn't spelled out either. And also, what are the thresholds to avoid closing down a school, right? If 90% of the school is vaccinated, does that mean that they would never have to close down? That too is not spelled out. So there are a lot of things that are answered here, the basics, but some of the more complicated questions parents are still looking for those answers, and they are not in this document.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, Colin, because we've gone through this twice over, I'm going to say, right? When the pandemic first hit and we moved everyone out of the schools, and then when we brought them back in, we kind of had, I guess, in a way, a template here with what is it that we need to do. And when you talked about the outbreaks, we had a defined number there. I believe it was 2 or more, which is what defined an outbreak. So it really looks like a generalized framework here. Is this considered to be the plan, or are we going to be looking at modifications as we get closer to the school year? Because health boards, of course, in Ontario are going to say, okay, so what's the real guideline here? What's the precedent here? And of course, region by region, as you and I both know, things are different compared to, say, Toronto and Peel to areas, in the Niagara region, for example.
Yeah, well, one of the key things here on the very front of this page, it actually does say version 1. So the government is looking to make some updates to this, particularly as it pertains to the outbreak management. Remember, we're still a month out from the school year really starting. And so I think that's one of the reasons why they want to wait until the very last minute. I mean, there could also be a movement when it comes to the mandatory masking policy. The Chief Medical Officer of Health has repeatedly stated that they still have some time to make a final determination on what to do with masks. So even the masking policy, just because it's laid out in this guidance document, they may all of a sudden at the very last minute decide to reverse course and say, you know what, we're in a good enough position that we don't need masks.
Yeah.
So we're expecting to see more of these guidance documents coming out throughout the summer. The other key question too is, what about the funding that's attached to all of this? The way Ontario, worked its back-to-school funding last year was it was kind of divided into thirds. A third of it came from the provincial government. A third of it came from local school boards who were allowed to access their own reserve funds if they wanted to lower class sizes, as an example. And a third of it came from the federal government. So, all told, the Ontario government has spent about $1.6 billion, but only $500 million of that has come from the Ontario government itself. The rest has come from school boards and the federal government. So we're waiting to see what the Minister of Education says. He's going to be holding a news conference tomorrow to outline some of these details. But one of the things the Ministry of Education is saying is at the end of this year, 2021, at the end of the first semester, they're going to review all of these guidelines to see if it still works, if they're still necessary, and if there's any way that they can start to retract some of these just because we're going to be in a different place at the end of the year.
A lot of questions, Colin. Hopefully we'll be getting some of those answers. Always appreciate you breaking it down for us. CTV's Colin Demela for us in Toronto. Thanks a lot for this, Colin.
My pleasure.